But by Tuesday, Walter Smith had gone. It took 48 hours wrangling and £1 million plus in compensation to prise David Moyes away from Preston. But the 38-year-old Scot was always Everton's #1 choice.
I came from Glasgow, I was involved with Glasgow Celtic and Glasgow Rangers, and now I'm coming to another great city where the football means so much to the people and so much to the Evertonians.
He is passionately addicted to good football, what I would call Everton football. But more than anything, at the end of the day, he said, I want to win.
As a fledgling manager at Preston, Moyes took the club to within one playoff victory of getting into the Premiership, and his name was soon linked with bigger jobs.
The last 4 years I've been either promotion or in the playoffs or involved at the top half of the league. We have just sold John Mackin for £5 million, so I feel that I've taken the club on in the last 4 years. I've walked away with quite a nice amount of money in the bank for Preston, so I'd hope that people will look at that period being very successful.
Everton's great days in the 80s are not such a distant memory. An FA Cup, a Cup Winners' Cup and 2 league championships. So where did it all go wrong?
If we'd have spent money when Howard left the club on the youth policy, then I think we would have been in a healthier state. We could have come and brought in players and sold a few and produced your own. If you've got no money, you must produce your own players. One to sell and one to keep the team stable. They've done neither of them things. I mean, what they've had success is in spite of the system, not because of the system.
Expectation and ambition among a fan base that remains loyal at 35,000 a game is now tinged with realism.
Everton have been in the top league more than anyone else. We've only spent 4 years out of the top league, and he's got to sort of bring home to the players that Everton have to be in the Premier League. There's nowhere else anyone wants to be. That is the place everyone wants to play.
It's a lot to do in 9 games. He's got to bring players in straight away, hopefully, which are going to make a difference to the team, have the team playing together and fighting against relegation. We're not doing it at the moment, so hopefully David can bring new, fresh ideas, a fresh hope to the club.
To see Everton going from one of the big 5 clubs to a very mediocre club at the moment is, in terms of finance, etc., it's very, very upsetting.
Now, you've only got 9 games. What are your priorities?
Well, the priorities are to win the games, which are going to make sure that we stay in the Premiership. That's got to be first and foremost. We're not looking any further than that at present. We have Fulham on Saturday, and we have to start by trying to take 3 points against them.
My heart tells me David Moyes is going to galvanise the team, pull us forward. My head tells me it's going to be very difficult, and I'm not too sure whether we've left it too late.
We're 4th from bottom of the Premier League. That is as critical as it gets. The good news is there's not 90 minutes to go. There's 9 times 90 minutes to go.
There has to be a period of stability, continuity. I mean, I think in the past there's been an awful lot of changes, and I have to try and bring that, and hopefully with a younger manager here and an influx of some younger players, it won't happen overnight, but hopefully we can build something which the Evertonians will be proud of in the future.
It seems an experienced player is already leaving the club. Joining us now from Goodison Park ahead of this afternoon's game with Fulham, former Everton centre-forward Graham Sharp, the man who deals with the Everton fans on a day-to-day basis. Graham, first of all, we're hearing reports that Paul Gascoigne has left Everton and gone to Burnley. Accurate reports?
Yes, I think so, Ray. I think news has filtered in this morning that Paul has left the football club and is on his way to sign for Burnley. Maybe in time for their important game tomorrow against Preston, but I think Paul has played his final game for Everton.
What a turnaround that Paul Gascoigne leaves, goes to Burnley maybe. They're in the playoff positions. They might come up, and who knows, your team might go down. Strange game football.
Well, it certainly is, Ray, and I think David Moyes knows the realities of this job. I think first and foremost he's got to keep us in the Premier League. It's going to be a very difficult job. Whether he can wave a magic wand immediately remains to be seen, but the timing was strange, but everybody knows it's a massive job here at a massive football club.
What has been the overall feedback from the fans? That Walter Smith's dismissal was unavoidable or unfair, and the subsequent reaction of David Moyes' arrival?
Well, I think that they're split. Some thought the timing of the decision was strange. Some thought Walter had worked wonders in a very tight restricted financial budget. But you know, you've got to move on, Ray, and they're happy to see a young up-and-coming manager in David Moyes. Only time will tell whether it was the right decision to sack Walter Smith now or wait to the end of the season. But you know, the decision's been made. The supporters, I think there'll be about 38,000 here today, will give him full backing. It's important that we start winning football matches.
David Moyes, since his arrival over the last 48 hours, as you'd imagine, he is talking with great gusto, and I would say Everton fans would surely be encouraged from what they've heard.
Well, they are. He said all the right things, which you would expect anyway, but you know, only time will tell. I keep saying that. We've got 9 games to go, starting today against Fulham. He's not going to come in automatically overnight and wave a magic wand. I don't think he will anyway. Our problem here has been scoring goals. That is one he's got to address very, very quickly. Whether that means bringing different people into the club, whether he's been given financial clout to go out in the transfer market before the deadline and bring a striker in, we'll just have to wait and see. But as I said to everybody this week, it's going to be a very, very difficult job.
Graham, thanks for joining us this lunchtime. I think Graham Sharp's hit the nail on the head there, hasn't he? Sort of goals, strikers, not getting enough strikes.
I mean, it's obviously very simplistic to say that Everton haven't scored enough goals this season, Ray, but that basically is the crux of the matter. You know, whether it's Campbell, whether it's Ferguson, whether it's Radzinski, you can just see in terms of, you know, the starts, in terms of the games, plus the goals they've scored, is just not enough. All right, then you can go and look a bit further and say, well, maybe, you know, is it down to the midfield players? Are they not creative enough? Are they not doing this or whatever? But I think generally, if you don't have in that position someone, a regular goal scorer, you're just not going to win your football matches, regardless if you're a Premier League team or your Division 3 team.
Where do you stand on Walter Smith's dismissal? Unavoidable or unfair? Come on, which way would you go?
Well, I think I'm a Walter Smith fan. I think it's been unfair. I think he's actually done an outstanding job since he's been there. And I can understand why they've done it, because they think a change now, new man in, little impetus, the kind of honeymoon period might just be enough to avoid relegation for Everton. I think it's going to be extremely tight, but I think Walter Smith has been hard done by. I think he's done the job to the best of his abilities, and I would doubt whether anybody could have done a better job than he's done in the circumstances. And the circumstances were not of his making, and they are financial circumstances as much as anything.
I'm just wondering if David Ginola was the last throw of the dice, really, and it was a 1.
I think he was definitely a last throw, and I think he was probably a 0 as opposed to a 1.
Well, let's not forget Preston North End in all this. The First Division table suggests the playoffs could be out of their reach. They need to make up 5 points. Not ideal losing your manager at this stage of the season. Acting Chairman Derek Shaw joins us now from Deepdale. Good afternoon to you. And I'm just wondering sort of what has been the reaction from your fans over the last 48 hours?
Well, our fans are obviously extremely disappointed. David's done a magnificent job for us in the period of time he's been here, but I do think that deep down most supporters of Preston North End knew that this day would come before long.
Was there any way you could have tried to hold on to him? Surely it's difficult given the opportunity that is set before David Moyes?
Yes, we did try to hold on to David, but Everton, for their reasons, obviously needed David. They've got 9 games left. We've got 8 games left. We're looking to get in the playoffs. But I think the offer for David was, we need you now, or we look elsewhere. And unfortunately, we've lost our manager, and they've gained a top-class young manager.
There's a Preston fan here called Mark Lawrenson that wants to weigh in with a few questions.
Hi Derek, how you doing?
Yes, hi Mark.
I suppose
Fine,
the phone's been ringing off the hook, and the CVs are already on the way in terms of new managers, huh?
Yeah, we've had a few calls, and we've had a few CVs, and you know, this is a big job. This is a good job here. We're a top First Division club, and with a lot of things going right for us. We have some money in the bank now from 1 or 2 deals we've had to do. Unfortunately, we've had to do them. John Macken, we didn't want to lose John Macken. We didn't want to lose David. But these things happen in football, and Preston North End are a position to build again.
And apparently a certain Mr Gascoigne might be playing against us tomorrow. Have you heard that news?
Well, I heard it through yourselves before, but I would be extremely surprised if Paul Gascoigne will be playing for Burnley. I think David Moyes might just hide a piece of paper somewhere what will prevent that.
Derek, there's no chance we can just poach Stan Tennant before tomorrow's game just to take their eye off the ball, is there, at Burnley?
Well, that one has been thrown out, but that one has been put in. But I'd be surprised if Stan would be moving to Preston North End.
Thanks for talking to us this lunchtime. So what do you do now? If you on the board, I think it's sure to come at some stage in your life being on the board there, but would you sit to the end of the season, or would you try and appoint now?
Well, they're not going anywhere insofar as we're not going to be relegated, Preston, okay, and we've got a chance of the playoffs. But because the way of David Moyes has organised the club, I think Kellam O'Hanlon, who's already said he's in charge at the moment, it's a well-oiled machine. Just keep the thing going, and let's see who wants a job, and probably have a look in the summer as to who we can actually appoint.
Well, more to come on the Premiership relegation battle. And we'll hear the thoughts of England coach Sven-Göran Eriksson on the state of play in the Premier League title race. As for the FA Cup, here are the goals from last weekend.